Hello, gentle viewers. This is Guardian welcoming you back to Out of the Park Baseball 23 with the Seattle Mariners. In today's episode, we're going to be taking over the Mariners for the very first time and seeing what we might be able to accomplish. Technically, the season's not over with yet. I got fired the day before the season ended because my owner's a jackass, so. However, how am I only picking 11th? Oh, because this is. Yeah. This is. It's not updated till the season is over with. That makes sense. So, before we go any farther, let's talk about what we have and what we don't. I always find this is an important first step in trying to build the best possible team that you can build, understanding what positions you're strong at and which positions might need a little bit of help. Before we go any farther with that, though, we have a fairly neutral park. Looks like it suppresses home runs by right-handed batters a tiny bit, as well as right-handed hitters in general. But overall, it's not a terrible place to play, and it won't restrict us in a way that, say, the restrictive environment in Kansas City causes some issues. So, looking at our roster right now, we have. We're going to sort by overall. I think it's just easier to see who is good and who is less good. So we have a pretty solid reliever. We've got Mike Schooler, who has been a pretty reliable closer for a bit now. I see no reason to get rid of him now. That seems pretty reasonable. We have Ron Gant. Now, while Ron Gant isn't a very good second baseman, he is a very good hitter. This may be more of let's move him to first and see if we can replace the first base. Because Danny Goodwin isn't anything special. We knew that when we had him back in the day. Moving Ron Gant to first and finding a new second baseman might be a good call. We'll see what happens with that, though. We have Jose Canseco, who is basically Ron Gant again, but he's faster and at least a competent outfielder. Canseco's going to be an interesting one and one to keep a close eye on because he's very much I hit home runs or I don't do anything. And if that starts to change, it's probably going to be time to move on from him. It's going to be hard, though, because he's got an awful lot of money. We have a couple of other good relievers. We have Stan Javier, who at the very least provides us with an excellent defensive center fielder. And his overall offensive package is just good enough that I'm not too concerned about. I do worry about his arm strength, but I'm okay with that. We have two very, very good young starting pitchers in Eric Hansen and Juan Guzman. So we've got the makings of a very fine young rotation. Guzman is a bit more raw, but if he can keep progressing, he'll be very good. I think Juan Guzman actually pitched for the Mariners in real life, too. No, he pitched for Toronto, that's right. And then once you get past this first tier, we're starting to see where some of the gaps are. Terry Poole is not the kind of player that a team contending for the playoffs would be playing every day. Left field is a very, very obvious place to upgrade. Manny Lee is a good shortstop, but he's a terrible, terrible hitter. This is another place we could potentially upgrade. He's also really, really overpaid, so this is another possible trader. Oil Can Boyd is fine, but he's also about to be up on his free agency, and I don't really think bringing him back makes a ton of sense. Cal Eldred should be a starter, in all honesty, and giving him that opportunity might be a nice replacement for Oil Can Boyd. Ron Darling is fine, I guess. And then as long as we start getting deeper in here, we start seeing we have more and more players who aren't terribly helpful at this stage in our development here. So let us begin by finishing the regular season and the playoffs, because that might have an impact on how things work out. Alright. Until playoffs end, please. The Giants won the World Series. Good for them. I'm very proud of them. And so we're going to have to hire a whole bunch of people. And that's totally fine. We want to make the organization on our own image anyway. So I am pretty happy about that. Paul Molitor is going to come back. Oh, Molitor was injured. That's why I didn't see him. Molitor is a good choice to play third base. Lance Parrish is not very good. I think we're going to go ahead and opt out of his contract. Larry Wisington retired, and a bunch of other people have left. Let's go ahead and start rebuilding the coaching staff first. A coaching staff is really important because it helps out a baseline. And we have a fair bit of money, so we can try to make some noise in free agency this season if we are so inclined. So, the first thing we need is we need an assistant GM. Now, assistant GM is arguably the least important thing to have. So I want to make sure it's somebody that can get along well with people. We want someone controlling. So assistant GM is purely going to be here for the purposes of... and give me is controlling. And give me my GM ratings. And give me somebody who prefers... Let's go ahead and bring on Paul Splitorf, because I like having a young guy. We're going to hire him as our assistant GM. So let's see what kind of talented coaches we have lower on in the system before I decide to find a new first base coach. Rick Honeycutt is thoroughly unremarkable. Randy Hundley is thoroughly unremarkable. I see. Thoroughly unremarkable seems to be the theme of today's episode, so that's okay. Don Blasingame is a really, really good bench coach, thankfully. So we're going to want somebody who can pair with him well. Is there anything else? Another controlling person would be helpful, I think. And give me their coach great ratings. Let's go ahead and grab Nate Smith to be our first base coach. I think that's a reliable choice. And then, last but certainly least, the team trainer. I don't give two fucks about their personality. I want the very best trainer we can get our hands on. And I think Emilio Carrion looks like the best one. Yes, he's not great at rehabbing other injuries, but he's so good at everything else that I think this is a very good choice. So we're going to select this fine fellow here and offer him a big contract. So now what I want to focus on young coaches that have the possibility to develop into great coaches. So the first thing I want to look at is I want to look at someone who's amazing at mechanics. But good at everything else. Hello, Dallas Green. I would like you to be my AAA manager. I need a new pitching coach. Bill Grief. Double A pitching coach. Let's get Alpha Suarez. I probably won't get both of these, but we're going to try. So remember, although we could save some money by not paying minor league coaches, the reason why I am is because it gives me a pool of excellent coaches to fill gaps in the majors. And that's what matters to me a fair bit. Let's get Ernie Broglio to be our manager of the Swamp Foxes. I mean, Phoenix doesn't really have swamps, what with being in the desert and all, but alright, cool. Cool. And let's get Jim Darrington here. Alright. So all my coaching vacancies now have offers. Let's take a look at the roster. Alright, Eric Hansen is really good. I would love to get him into a longer term deal, but for right now, I will happily pay him the money he is requesting. Easy choice. Kirk Kepcher is not critical to our success, but he is inexpensive, and I don't think that a modest raise is out of the is unrealistic. Yeah, that's fine. 310. So Mike Schooler wants to earn $1 million. He's consistently been a really good pitcher. Really good. But I think part of his issue is he's considering himself to be a starter, which he isn't. Making him a starter would be disastrous. I'm going to come back to you once I've seen what is left on the rest of the roster. So Orlando Sanchez is just awful. Paying him any money is a waste of money. Joe DeSaw, waste of money. Non-tendered. Lloyd McClendon, I know someone in the chat said that Lloyd McClendon was one of their favorite players growing up. I only know him as the manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates. I can tell you what he's not, though, which is a member of the Seattle Mariners. I apologize, but he sucks. Rod Booker I will keep because he's at least a very competent utility guy. So I think giving him a modest raise is quite reasonable. Like, he's going to be one of the first ones out, but for now we can keep him. Ron Gant will come back to. Ty Waller is thoroughly uninteresting in every stretch of the word. Henry Cotto is... he's just been terrible. So no, I will not pay him $260,000. And Billy Hatcher is equally unimpressive. So this leaves me with a couple of specific players. Ron Gant and Mike Schooler. Let's go ahead and talk to Ron Gant. He wants me in starting lineup, obviously. I'm going to shift him to first this season, I think. But other than that, I am more than happy to let him play for the Mariners. So, do we keep Schooler? We've freed up a lot of money by non-tendering a lot of these schmucks, but that doesn't mean I want to throw it away. And here's his issue. He doesn't think he's a closer. He thinks he's a starting pitcher. And I will never make him a starting pitcher. In fact, no, he actually does want to be a closer. Interesting. I don't like paying relievers this much money. There's something constitutionally in my system against it, unless they are something relatively remarkable. So Mr. Schooler here has really good movement, meaning he keeps the ball down. That's important. Mediocre stuff, mediocre control, and a fastball slider mix. You don't feel like $1 million player. You genuinely don't feel like $1 million closer to me. And relievers kind of grow on trees. So I think I'm going to trade you. I'm going to trade you while you still have plenty of value, and I might get some useful pieces in return. I wasn't wrong about that. No, I do like Brett Saberhagen as an option. He's very expensive, which is maybe less good. So I'd love to get a top-performing outfielder or a new second baseman of high quality. That's kind of what I'm thinking of here. A guy like Harold Baines would be a pretty solid DH, but I don't want to overpay for a DH. I mean, a young Kevin Brown sounds awfully good. I could get an elite closer in Greg Olson. Give me the Gambler, Kenny Rogers. Get me some Brian Harvey action. I could get... No, I'm joking. I'm not going to trade for Ozzie Smith. I'm going to get a new first baseman, and I don't want to trade the Royals anyway if I can avoid it. Tom Glavine. No, that is an interesting idea. Getting a good young pitcher like Glavine could really solidify our rotation. I'm going to come back to that, but Tom Glavine definitely piques my interest. I know I missed out on Greg Maddux, but Tom Glavine would be a pretty nice consolation prize. So the downside of trading for Tom Glavine is that the Mets, or the Expos, don't really have anything else interesting to me. Like, Greg Olson is like a tiny bit. Because I'm kind of weak at catcher at the moment. Let's do Glavine, and let's see if I can get Olson too. No, you don't like that deal. Okay. I would love Cal Daniels. You're probably going to tell me to go fuck myself, but I want to see... Okay. That's fair. I see where they're willing to trade Tom Glavine, though. Like, holy shit, guys. I could bring in Tony Gwynn. And they'd probably be eager to get his money off the lineup. I know I've already had Tony Gwynn, though, so I kind of want to trade for players we haven't had yet. I could get Bobby Bonilla and then do what the Mets did and sign him for like $1 billion years. Yeah, let's do it. I'm sorry that the fans are sad about that, but the thing is, a guy like Tom Glavine is just that much more valuable to me. I know, like, he's not that impressive in terms of raw numbers, but what he is a very good starting pitcher that shouldn't hopefully cost me too much money. Can I get you to sign like a 5-year contract with 350 grand each? I respect that. And I think that is a good choice. Remember, Tom Glavine, like Don Sutton, was a compiler. He wasn't a big peak guy, and OOTP is always going to look at people like that with a bit of a sconce. Like, if we look at his real life numbers here, he really didn't have a peak. He had a couple of very, very good years in the 90s, and then a couple more here and there. But it's not that kind of season that pops out at you. That kind of season where he's like, damn, that is one of the best pitchers in the major leagues. Instead, he was just really fucking good for a very long time. He was never terrible. And that can be a great source of strength in its own right. Cool. Okay. Let us advance forward in time a bit and see how things develop. Okay, good. So far, notice told me to go fuck myself. That's always a great start to coaching. Ernie Broglio's getting offered more money. I would like to match it, please. I'd like to offer you 80 grand. I will double your salary, sir. Really? Oh, snap. I think Dallas Green's meant to be my AAA manager. I'm gonna offer you 100 grand and see if the money is all you care about. And see what happens here. I will offer you 150 grand because I don't mind paying a bunch of money for quality coaches. And let's offer you 85 grand, maybe. Nope. Almost said it again, friends. I almost gave a rookie pitching coach $850,000. Just pretty silly. Everybody signs new contracts. $90 grand. I'm just trying to drown people in money because I think it's going to be the only way that I can get people to sign contracts with us. Alright. Who do we have left that needs to sign? I have 2 more people thinking about it. And 1 more. I think the last guy isn't going to sign because I would have heard by now. No, he's still thinking about it. Okay, cool. Oh, let's look at Gold Glove because I want to see if any Royals won a Gold Glove. Yes, Lenny Dykstra won again. Cool. Neat. Who got a Silver Slugger in the AL? Any Royals or Mariners? Nope. I do. Oh, I never put him on my roster. That was quite silly of me. That was very silly indeed. Ton Hundley got Rookie of the Year. Steve Avery got a couple of votes. Cy Young, Oral Hershiser finally got his Cy Young award, so I feel pretty good about that. I think he's way overdue, but I'm glad that he did get it. Eric Hansen got a vote from like one guy. MVP goes to Edgar Martinez. Well done. Oh, interesting. Free agency is before the draft this year. Okay. Alright. I don't want to see who's available, but I'm probably... I mean, you're kind of terrible, so you can get fucked. I'll just find a better coach. I mean, I don't want to stand in the way of your development as a human being. No, I'm joking. I don't give two shits about you. Alright. So we're going to have ourselves a look at free agency in a second, but first I need to hire myself a new rookie ball hitting coach. Wow, really? Oh, Von Joshua, sure. I guess I can bring you in. Just because someone has to do it. So, I have a lot of spots to fill. I'm going to quickly move Ron Gant to first so I don't forget. So what I need is I really need a high contact guy. I need somebody who can hit reliably to help drive the rest of this offense. Manny Lee ain't that guy. Manny Lee shouldn't even be in the top 9 of this lineup. We're going to get Paul Molitor back, though. Paul Molitor is going to be that guy to a certain extent. He's our big ticket. Hopefully he'll recover and be ready to go next season. So that's our that's our real third baseman. So I need second, catcher, left field, and DH. And I also need at least 1 or 2 starters. So we've got a lot of holes to fill. Let us now quickly take a look at the rookie draft. We're going to be picking 3rd overall, which, as we all know, is amazing. All right. So this is a very interesting draft, to say the least. I will tell you right now my top 3. Brett Boone, Mike Piazza, and Pedro Martinez. There are many other fine players in this draft, but those are the big 3 for me. Now, you know, if you're sitting here thinking, Avi, you pass up on Greg Maddux, are you seriously going to pass up on Pedro Martinez? I don't know. Oh, this is tough. This is super tough. I fucking love Pedro Martinez. Can you imagine how sick our rotation would be with Pedro Martinez in it? I mean, I ain't taking Brian Jordan. Brian Jordan is a fine human being and a good player, but he's not who I would take. Can I pass up on Pedro motherfucking Martinez? So, let's talk positives and negatives of taking Pedro Martinez. Positive, he's Pedro Martinez. No more needs to be said. Negative, he's not going to be ready for the big leagues his first year. I don't want to throw him into the deep waters and make him pitch with control that badly, because he will lose his confidence. He'll get wrecked. But he's Pedro Martinez. I know people love Greg Maddux, and I respect that. But Pedro Martinez is one of my favorite pitchers of all time. Friends, this is a real pickle. Because my gut reaction is Mike Piazza. If I can get Mike Piazza, I would probably take him. I'd even play him a catcher because I don't give two shits about whether my catcher is amazing or not. And then a guy like Brett Boone would also be pretty solid. But I think it's got to be Pedro. Unless Pedro Martinez gets picked in the first 2 picks, I'm going to take Pedro Martinez. Because this is a very deep draft. And I'm hopeful we'll be able to get at least one other quality position player later on in the draft. Like maybe getting Jeff Kent in the second round would be a pretty nice bonus. But I think Pedro is the pick, assuming he doesn't go in the first 2 picks. If he does, then I'll figure it out. So knowing what's available in this draft and that it is very top-heavy, or not very top-heavy, sorry, it's very deep, means I don't want to commit to players for a lot of money unless I'm sure they can offer me something I can't get in the draft. So, the very best player in the draft is Wade Boggs. I am not paying Wade Boggs $4 million. That's not happening. No. He's a tremendous hitter, but I've already got a new first baseman, and it's too damn much money. That's a lot of money for Alan Trammell, too. I'm noticing very quickly that the top tier stars all want, like, billions of dollars. Where are the good bargains to be found? I like Alan Trammell. I deeply question his value into his mid to late 30s. I just don't think that's a smart move. David Green is a thoroughly unremarkable player, and his fairly low price tag doesn't make up for that fact. I don't think David Green is going to solve any of our problems, unless our problem is we have too much money and we need to just set it on fire. I will bring in John Franco. He's both very cheap and he's a quality reliever. I'm happy to do that. I can probably splurge and grab 1 star, but if I'm going to grab a star, I want somebody younger. A lot younger. Ozzie Guillen is a really good shortstop, and but he's a very questionable hitter. If I'm paying a premium price, I want a premium player. Jerry Brown would be a pretty solid left fielder. Good contact, good discipline, good speed. Here's a leadoff guy. We could use a leadoff guy. But I definitely want a couple of team options at the end of his contract. Just in case I've got a way to get out of it if things go wrong. Okay. What do we got at second base in this draft? Or in this free agency movement here. Randy Reddy, to be perfectly honest with you, seems like he'd be a perfectly cromulent second baseman for 1 year. Let's go ahead and sign him to a deal. I mean, I could just move Robin Yount to second base. He's just costing a little bit too much money. I also happened to notice... Man. Wade Boggs is really tempting. He's just such a damn good hitter. He would transform the lineup. Because I can always send Ron Gant to the outfield, right? Like, Ron Gant is a pretty decent choice there as well. I could let Ron Gant DH also. Oh, hell no. I'm not giving you a 7-year guaranteed contract. I don't know what kind of idiot you take me for, but no. Let's do 4 years with a team option. No, he wants guaranteed years. I think he'll age well, but I think that's too much money on one player. I will bring in Bob Kipper, though. He seems like he's a little bit better risk than the other gentleman that we let go. Oh, he's a lefty, too. Interesting. Okay. Nope. Damn, but wouldn't he be sweet in our lineup? What about Eddie Murray? Eddie Murray would be a pretty good choice as like a DH slash first baseman. But he is coming off the worst season of his career. I don't feel the need to give him a bunch of money for that. Dale Murphy's fine, but... I didn't even look at Lloyd Mosby, and that makes sense why I didn't. You're offering me very good players that are also very flawed. The only player I would consider worthy of a mega contract is, in fact, Wade Boggs. Because he's just so damn good at hitting that he's going to be great no matter how the rest of his game plays. Am I really going to do it? Am I going to offer him $4.8 million for 5 years? Only if I get a team option. He really wants that guaranteed 4th year. That seems to be a deal breaker for him. What if I just do a straight up 4-year contract? That's a lot of money to commit to one player, but he's going to completely transform our offense. So I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to offer that. Oh, right. I can't. I can't give you the 5th year. I can't. It sucks. I really want you on my team, but I don't want you that badly. I don't want to cripple my payroll the way that I crippled it with Kansas City by signing Will Clark and Ozzie Smith to those big contracts. And Lenny Dykstra. I can probably do that for like 2 people, but not 3. So I'm unfortunately going to have to say no to that. I'm not super keen on any of these names that I'm seeing just yet. Like, there's a bunch of guys who are right around that high level, but Fergie Jenkins deserves it for sure. As does Tommy John. Dave Kingman, I mean, he does have 500 homers, but that's really all he's got. Well, he's a good power and speed combo. I guess that's alright. Thurman Munson doesn't really move the needle for me. Gary Nolan does, though. Jerry Roos ended up having himself a pretty solid little career. I'm proud of him. Tom Seaver, obviously. I think Bill Singer is also kind of an easy choice. And Don Sutton. What a class. Yeah, we're going to get a lot of first-timers out of this class. Like Tom Seaver, Don Sutton, and Bill Singer all seem like pretty good bets. It's going to be a good draft to be a starting pitch, or a good Hall of Fame career to be a starting pitcher, I think. What did Wade Boggs get from St. Louis? He got his 5 years. I don't begrudge him that, but that is a little bit disappointing. But it's fine. It's fine. I want to get a couple more quality relievers. I don't know where I'm going to find them, but I do want to get a couple more. I mean, Bob Kipper seems like he's been a pretty solid pitcher. I just don't... Oh, I also already have Bob Kipper. You almost tricked me, dude. That's not cool. He's not $3 million good. He just isn't. A 3-year deal isn't that unusual, but I think my current shortstop is pretty solid, like at least defensively. Yeah, so I don't really feel like I need to rush out and get a new dude for that. How is my scouting director? Is he just like the worst, or is he merely just not brilliant? He is thoroughly unremarkable. I would like to fire you, Mr. Scouting Director. Wait, let me make sure there's actually like a really good... Nah, I'm just gonna fire him. Fuck it. The chance of me getting a worse one seem pretty low. I could get behind... I'm also good at scouting the minors and the amateurs, so I think for now George Banks is a good choice. Let's get him locked up. Because I want a new scouting director. What I should have fired him a lot sooner. That's on me. That is entirely on me. That I should have checked earlier and had him installed for the draft, but I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. Alright. I'm a little sad we didn't get Paul Molitor. I think he would have been a pretty great addition to the center of the lineup. Alas, are you seriously demented? No, Eric Haynes is going to be a Seattle Mariner till he retires. Don't be fucking stupid, game. Alright, so we got Brown and Reddy, both of whom serve very important roles on this franchise. I love it. I ain't letting Brown play center field. Don't be delusional, but I will take him. And gives us a nice little outfield. I need at least one more big contact guy if I can get him. Because right now we have 2 power guys and 2 decent contact guys, but I really like a 3rd contact guy. Is Tony Gwynn still available? He is not. Who is the best contact hitter remaining in the free agent class? It's Phil Bradley. Interesting. Very interesting. I will take him as a designated hitter, and I think he'll offer us a very nice, high-quality piece to our puzzle here. Done. I think we're going to have to build through, like, ultimate, like, super dominating defense, or pitching, rather. So, Pedro ain't making it to pick 4. If he's still around, I'm drafting him. That's, like, not even a tenth of a second's hesitation. If he doesn't go in the first few picks, I am taking him. You motherfuckers. Alright. That is a giant kick in the balls, and I'm not happy about it. Because I had visions, my friends. Visions. I know I've got my pick of the rest, but it's hard to get as excited when you could have had Pedro fucking Martinez. And you're like, nah, I don't want Pedro Martinez. Reds, you're not my mortal nemesis, and I hope you all explode into 1,000 pieces. So, Dave Nilsson would be a nice addition. He's not a brilliant catcher, but he's a very good one. He's also the first Australian in the major leagues. Get a guy like Tim Salmon, add another potent bat to our already, frankly, terrifying lineup. I need a second baseman if I'm drafting for need or a catcher. Let's talk our second base / catcher options. First of all, we have John Valentine. John Valentine is a really damn good hitter and a pretty good second baseman. Good contact, good gap power, very good discipline. He's going to get on base. He's going to wreck people's shit. We have Jose Valentine. A bit more mercurial, but he is a switch hitter. Honestly, I might just take John Valentine. Or Tim Salmon. Man, John Valentine feels like a bit of a disappointment for the 3rd overall pick in the draft, but it's important to remember there was a time when he was actually very, very good. Very good indeed. There is, of course, Brett Boone. Who was a very solid player for the Seattle Mariners for a long time. Damian Easley for the Detroit Tigers was pretty solid for a while. So, it comes down to 3 people for me. I'm not even going to consider Ryan Klesko because he's so raw. He's not even going to be helpful for us for at least a solid 3 to 4 seasons. John Jaha is fine. I don't dislike him, but as anything other than a DH, Comes down to Nilsson, Salmon, and Valentine. Those are the three names I'm thinking right now. Nilsson is legitimately like a potential top level hitter. And in real life, he was always very, very good at hitting. That was never his problem. He was just never an outstanding catcher. If I don't get Dave Nilsson who plays catcher, we'll have to figure it out. Tim Salmon is probably the best raw offensive talent in this draft from like a top to bottom perspective, except for John Jaha. But I don't need an outfielder right now. I don't know where he'd play. John Valentin is a premium offensive piece at a premium defensive position. And I can move him around as I need to. John Valentin is the choice. I don't feel amazing about this, but I only don't feel amazing about it because there's so many other incredible players available to me. We're going to get at least one more starter in this draft, though, somehow. So John Valentin is the pick. Who we got next? If Sterling Hitchcock figures out his shit, he's going to be a really good starting pitcher. But it's only if he figures out his shit. Roger Pavlik is a pretty good starter right now. There's Pedro Estacio, if we want a little bit more nuanced. Wasn't Hitchcock... If I remember Hitchcock, I know he pitched for the Yankees, and he was always considered like the next big thing, and he just never worked out. Yeah, the definition of Major League Journeyman. I don't remember Roger Pavlik at all. Looks like he mostly pitched for Texas. Interesting. Okay. Oh boy, Bob Wickman. I remember Bob Wickman. I remember Jeff Nelson and Hippolito Pichardo and Jeff Reveille. Miguel Batista. Tim Wakefield. I could have Tim Wakefield. If he's still around in the third round, I'll take Tim Wakefield. I consider taking Ken Ryan, actually. I like having a big-time arm in the bullpen, and it's a little bit more valuable than a lottery ticket on a starting pitcher. So let's go ahead and take ourselves some Ken Ryan. Is Tim Wakefield still in the draft? No! I swear to God, Cincinnati, if you took Tim Wakefield, I will stab you in the throat. Brewers, you are now my enemy. We are nemesis for life. Billy Ashley is an interesting little bat that might turn into something pretty special, so I'm going to take Billy Ashley. And then some Mike Trombley. That sounds good. And we're already at, like, the bad portion of the draft, so... Do I feel great about this draft? I don't feel bad about this draft, but I don't feel great about it either. When you're picking like third overall, you want to get like a franchise-changing player, and John Valentine is definitely a very, very good player. He's definitely a perennial all-star. Probably not a Hall of Famer, but definitely a perennial all-star. He's got a very low. He's got a very high floor, which is excellent. High floor players are just as important as high ceiling players. But man, those fucking Reds. I hope you choke on Pedro Martinez. I hope you choke on him. Keith Mitchell sucks. I don't want him. Hard pass. Let us, my dear friends, advance toward the Rule 5 draft. Is there any... Let's actually start clearing some people off to 40... No, actually, I've got plenty of openings on the 40-man. Cool. 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 Mark Lewis? No. So, what positions do I still have yet to fill? Well, let's go ahead and make some quick updates right now. John Valentine is going right to the big leagues. He's going to be playing second base for us. We'll just do this just for right now, just so I can see. John Valentine is definitely not playing DH. But... Interesting. So Randy Reddy plays second base this first season? I don't think so. I'm going to force him at second base. Here we go. Second base. Okay. So positionally, where are we the weakest right now? Brown and Molitor make a hell of a combo at the top of the lineup. We've got another outfielder that's going to be signing with us soonish. I don't really want Randy Reddy in the lineup if I don't have to have him there, but I guess I don't hate it. Tim McIntosh is not very good, so we could definitely use a new starting catcher. And I think we've got a new DH incoming. So really it's going to come down to how good we can get with a new starting catcher. So let's go to the Rule 5 draft. I'd like to grab a couple of relievers too if we can. So give me the very best potential players here and auto draft. I'm going to take Ken Gerhart because I do need a good backup center fielder. What do we have in the realm of a catcher? We have Rick Rona. I guess I'll take him just because I do need a backup catcher and I don't have one. No, I'll check free agency instead. What else we got? All players. Interesting. Mark Fidrich is still around. That's pretty wild. No, I think I'm good. I think I've got what I wanted to from the Rule 5. I'm not going to take anyone else. Let us now check free agency and see who is left. Interesting. Nobody wants Alan Trammell. Oh, so that's your deal. Your deal is just you want to get the maximum amount of money. I can respect that. Catcher. Um, Don Slot is a reasonably good hitter, so I think bringing him in to be a catcher for a season does make some sense. And I just also got just some absolutely terrible pitchers, so I'd like to try to grab a couple more low-cost relievers. Help round out our bullpen. John Urea, you might stink like pee, but I will grab you anyway. Really? Jerk. No, I don't want Ryan Bowen. Everyone wants Kurt Hepscher, and I get it, but also he's going to be an important pitcher, so maybe don't be a jerk. I'm just tired of getting annoyed about him, so I'm just going to tell you to stop. Yep, that's a big old starting pitcher class, isn't it? And I drafted two of them. I drafted Fergie and I drafted Bill Singer. I did draft Fergie, right? Yes, I did. I wonder why I didn't get a notification about Ferguson Jenkins retiring and being placed in the Hall of Fame. Like, absolutely deserve credit for Bill Singer, too. I drafted him, too, but I wonder why Ferguson Jenkins wasn't. Unless he drafted the year before I came to the Astros. So, drafted in 65. What year did I take over the Astros? 65. He was literally my first draft pick with them. So, give me my fucking credit, emails. Fergie Jenkins is one of mine, too. Anyway. Let's try to grab another reliever. Paying Kurt Wardle $1 million seems like kind of a waste of money. In all honesty, and I've got enough interesting pitchers in the minors, I could just call them up and go with that. So I think that's what I'll do. Oh my god, really? What is it about my team that convinces you that I want awful catchers? Or awful second baseman? Alright, Bradley is a Mariner. Don Slot is a Mariner. Alright, I have got a shit ton of money left. But I'm going to spend some of it to keep some of the players that we have right now. I would not at all object to keeping Paul Molitor, who is very close to being a Hall of Famer in our league. But I'm worried about him coming off of a serious injury. I may not want to jump in and lock him up. San Javier wants $4 million a year. That ain't happening. Okay. Yeah, Paul Molitor is drunk if he thinks I'm going to give him that long a contract. I don't mind giving him an extension, but it's going to be a very short-term one with lots of protection for the team. If you'll take this deal, I will happily give it to you. Because you're a good enough hitter that I think you'll be able to give me at least one more good year, if not two. So I am happy with doing that. What is my owner's deal? He likes making money, but other than that, I don't think he is too big of a grump. Got Paul Molitor to kick around for another couple of years. We are spending the maximum possible on scouting and development, aren't we? Oh, we're actually below the league baseline. That's pretty fucking stupid, guys. 840. 1, 2, 3. And I want to spend most of it on minor league scouting and the draft. There we go. That's good. And let's also do player development budget, and let's get this cranked up real good. Can I do 500 grand? I can. Neat. Alrighty then. Ryan, Fajardo, Trombley, and Blair. I can't believe I missed out on Pedro Martinez. That really grinds my gears. Guys, we sucked. We didn't suck enough. Try sucking more next time, okay? We should have a much better team on base percentage now. We've got a lot more contact and plate discipline oriented hitters. And that should mean that there's going to be more people on base for Canseco and Gant, excuse me. I actually probably want Paul Molitor batting third, in all honesty, but we'll see what happens as spring training progresses. I don't want Yorkis Perez. He sucks. Any interesting people still not signed in free agency, though? I mean, I've always wanted Chris Spire or Buddy Bell on my team, but I don't think they really serve a purpose at this stage. Really, Glavin? Really? You jerk. Interesting. Marquise Grissom and Ed Sprague Jr. for Ron Gant. So, Marquise Grissom gives us a very solid additional outfielder. Ed Sprague Jr. gets us basically Ron Gant on the cheap. And in return, I'm giving up a somewhat flawed hitter. I'd like to get a little bit more from the Braves, but this is actually the basis of a fairly good deal. I'd love to get Randy Johnson. You're going to tell me to get fucked, but why not try it? Okay. That's fair. I'm not giving you Guzman. If I dropped Grissom, could I get Barfield? Really? Oh, Jesse Barfield sucks. Never mind. You almost got me there. That made me instantly suspicious. I will give you Greg Matthews to get Rob Dibble. This gets us a dominating reliever and two players who will both have a role on this team while shedding payroll and getting rid of a player who will eventually become very, very limited. So I'm going to pull the trigger now. I mean, Atlanta trading an awful lot for Ron Gant seems pretty on brand. I can't remember if they traded for Ron Gant in real life or had him to begin with. But I remember whatever happened, it was pretty funny. Yeah, I think they traded him for like some ridiculous package from Cincinnati. And then shortly afterwards, he just stopped being nearly as good a player. So yeah. I don't need two Jose Cansecas. One Jose Canseco is enough. Some might argue too many. I'm just going to let you go, Gerhardt. I got Marquise Grissom now. I don't need a good backup center fielder anymore. I mean, Grissom might quite literally become our center fielder as soon as the next season. Alright. So let's get it all whittled down. I presently have 18 pitchers. This is, in fact, too many pitchers. So let's start wearing down the numbers here among the pitchers. Tony Arnold sucks. Vince Horseman sucks, even if he is not actually a horse. So you two can just go away. Starting pitching, because Glavin is injured, that's going to reduce our overall levels here. I'm going to go ahead and waive Les Streaker and Mark Brown. Oliveros can go to the minors. Trombley can go to the minors. This gets me to 12 pitchers, which I think is a good number of pitchers. Very good number of pitchers indeed. That means Ken Ryan makes the opening day roster for now. I'm going to leave Glavin on the roster because I don't really have another starter to take his place right now. So we'll just kind of let him recover while on the 40-man. I don't need 3 catchers. I especially don't need Don Wakamatsu, who is not very good at it. Rod Booker is still a perfectly fine utility guy. Mike Woodard is not. See you, Mike. I mean, he's a bit of a sharper son, unlike Jim Whalewander, or Whalewander. We're at 26. Let's send down Sharperson, because I think we've got enough utility covered between Rod Booker and Randy Reddy. He's always ready to go. Alright. So let us now go ahead and set up our lineup. Pitching is fine. I think this is a good mix. This is good. Kill it with fire. Alright, now that I'm taking back over, I'm going to go ahead and remove the game strategy here. So I get to decide where he is now. I just wanted to do that for spring training so he'd get some reps in spring training. And it looks like he's learning second base very, very rapidly, which is the best of news. Alright, and my very best contact hitter is unsurprisingly Paul Molitor. Is Paul Molitor, in fact, my number 3 hitter? This is going to sound super weird. It feels super weird, but I think my number 3 hitter might actually be John Valentin. And there's 2 reasons for that. One is his power, and 2 is his gap power. He is the most likely to get an extra base hit when we desperately need it. So I think we are going to make him the number 3 hitter. This lets Paul Molitor hit second. And it lets Jerry Brown hit leadoff. I said Jerry Brown hit leadoff. Cleanup is Jose Canseco. Easiest decision on the entire roster is who bats cleanup. Who's going to bat 5th? That's probably going to be... I think Phil Bradley bats 6th and plays designated hitter. I think we're going to let Ed Sprague Jr. try to be our number 5 hitter. Then we get some Don Slot action in, batting 7th. Stan Javier bats 8th. And Manny Lee bats dead last. Tim McIntosh is going to be our utility catcher. He's going to start whenever Slot is tired. Grissom is going to back up all 3 outfield spots. Randy Reddy is going to back up second base only. I'm also going to get him some reps out in the outfield. It looks like he wouldn't be too terrible at it. No, actually, would be pretty bad at it. But I will let him, I will let Rod Booker be the primary backup at third and short. Reddy will be the primary backup at first base and at DH. So this is your opening day lineup. Last but certainly not least, Marquise Grissom becomes the number 1 pinch hitter. Randy Reddy the number 2. And the less we see anyone else in the lineup, the better. Marquise Grissom is also going to be our number 1 pinch runner. There you have it. Now, this is going to be an interesting team. And what makes it interesting is the fact that we've got... I genuinely don't know how we're going to hit. I genuinely don't have an answer to that question. I think we may be okay, but a lot's going to depend on Canseco, and especially Ed Sprague. We're a better lineup than we were last season. Of that, I have 0 doubts. Are we enough better that we have any chance of breaking 500? That I don't think so. It's going to depend on health a lot. A lot. And, yeah. It's going to be interesting. To say the least. That's gonna haunt me, Reds. It's gonna haunt me. You are assholes, Cincinnati. I am filled with rage at your bullshit. I do. I completely neglected that Hector Fajardo and Willie Blair were still on the team. That's a whoopsie. Sorry. Oh, all these jokers, all of them can be cleared off the roster. Neat. Oh my god, Glavin, what the shit? Oh, you are not part of the starting lineup, so cease your prattling, noob. So here's the good news. They're going to be in play for a top 3 pick again next season, which is cool. That's very cool. Oh, damn. Ken Ryan learning a new pitch. That's exciting. All right. Only 1 month, guys. I'm not going to look at the team or how it's doing yet. We're just going to go right into June. And then we'll make decisions as we need to. Paul, this shit has to stop. You can't keep getting injured. And we're losing Manny Lee, too. Guys, this is not cool. I guess because someone has to be... No, I don't have a good third baseman, do I? I guess I shift Valentin over to third and let Randy Reddy play second. I think that's probably our best choice here. And then maybe see if I can't grab us a good utility guy in the trade market. I mean, there is Julio Franco. It's hard to argue with him as a utility guy dude off the bench. His problem is he's probably going to want to be a starter, and I don't have a role for that yet. But overall, I don't think we'd be going too far amiss having him as a top-tier utility guy. What would it cost me to get Julio Franco? Really? Oh, I bet Julio Franco's got... Interesting. There's literally nobody I can give Cleveland. That's cool. Interesting. Like, literally nobody wants any of my players. You got him as a minor league free agent? Oh, I'm salty. I'm very salty. Alright. I think what it probably is, it's probably people that have 10-5 rights or no trade clause blocking it because they don't want to come to play for me. Alright, he'll be back in about a week. That's a firm no from me. Alright. Not too many big changes. For the most part, it's people settling into their actual true talent levels. Marquise Grissom's a little bit better. Good. So let's look at the team. What is going well and what is not going well? The lineup, kind of surprisingly, is a strength. We're actually hitting at a pretty high rate despite not having Paul Molitor. So that's very positive. We're getting good things out of Phil Bradley, out of Jerry Brown, out of John Valentin. Jose Canseco's a little bit disappointing. We really need him to be hitting like 40 to 50 homers to be at his very best. I'm hoping that'll heat up a bit in the second half. So the lineup, the only note I have is Manny Lee, and I just don't have anybody to replace him. So that's fun. What is less fun is the pitching staff. The rotation is badly struggling. Juan Guzman is just walking everyone. This has to get sorted out because this is very deeply concerning to me. Now, this may also be an issue of defense, but let's find out for sure. If I look at his FIP, everyone's favorite number, he's a little bit better by FIP. So let's take a look at our defense. One second. Pardon me. It's not that we have a bad defense, it's that we lack that top tier defender that can gel the rest of the team together. So that is a bit of a concern. It is a bit of a concern that we don't have a premium defender. But I don't think our defense is that bad either. It's just kind of mediocre. Who's bad defensive efficiency wise? It's fine. But no, the real problem is just the starters aren't pitching that well. Tom Glavine is getting hit real hard. Mostly because his walk rate has also spiked. Guys that don't normally walk people as much are walking people a lot. That is by far our biggest issue, and that is something that I hope we can sort out as the season progresses. Because right now, I am deeply troubled. Rob Dibble, his strikeouts have disappeared. You know what this sounds like time for? It sounds to me like we need to fire our pitching coach. Maybe give Bill Grief a chance. Yeah, we're going to fire our pitching coach mid-season. That'll be a lesson, I guess. And Bill, you are promoted. You are new pitching coach. Al Fitzmaurice goes up to AAA. And Dick Scott ain't nothing special, but Jim Darrington is quite good, so he will leapfrog you and take over AA. And I guess I'll hire like some rando pitching coach. I'll get Mike Cuellar. He'd be a good pitching coach, I think. Yeah, because this is just quite literally all of my pitchers are not pitching up to their potential for whatever reason. So we're going to keep going and see if the pitching staff can figure it out. But I'm reasonably happy with the lineup. I think the lineup was a big weakness last season, and we've really turned it around quite quickly. The next big question is going to be as we get closer to, as we get closer to the trade deadline, I might consider trading a couple of our free agents, but we're going to wait for July for that. Perfect. John Franco, what in the name of the seven hells are you smoking? You're not a starter. Not even a little bit. Randy, let's be clear here. The only reason you're in the starting lineup is because Paul Molitor has been hurt. Now that Paul Molitor is back, see you later, dude. Back to second for Mr. Valentine. And back to third for Paul Molitor. Okay. Alright, so let's take a look at... First things first, I want to keep a lot of this minor league staff together so I can see what I've got there. So, Manny Jimenez is in fact not a very good third base coach. I will happily let him walk, and we'll replace him. Eric Hansen's getting a bit better. Don Slot got a bit better. Ed Sprague is getting worse. A little bit. Because we've got such a young staff, I wouldn't mind keeping Don Slot for one more season if he'll come back for not very much money. Fuck you. Y'all are fucking delusional. That's just the facts, guys. You're delusional. And how long do I have Marquise Grissom for? For at least a couple more seasons. So what I might do is I might actually trade Stan Javier. Because I am bringing him back. Not for that much money. You can take that idea and stick it right up your butthole. Because I am doing it. Who from the Mariners made the All-Star team? I better not have gotten left out. Okay, John Valentin made the All-Star team. Cool. Lenny Dykstra made it. Only one All-Star, but the fact it was a rookie is pretty cool. And John Valentin has easily been a worthwhile addition to our roster, so I feel real good about that. Okay. That Mark McGwire guy looks like he's pretty good at hitting homers. That's pretty neat. That is pretty neat. So, first things first, I'm going to trade Stan Javier. He wants way too much money, and I'm not convinced he's better than Marquise Grissom. So I'm going to trade you, and I want to try to get something of value. Okay, Jack Clark. Now, Harold Baines is like kind of tempting, but only if they eat part of his contract. A guy like Greg Myers would actually be pretty solid. He'd give us a really reliable catcher, but I'd kind of like a bit more than that. Joey Cora. Nope. You are all on all of the drugs. That is the only solution I can come up with as to why you're offering these giant contracts to middling players. They do say the Bo knows baseball, don't they? But the only thing he knows is hitting home runs, apparently. What do I even want? I guess is an important question to ask myself. We're kind of low power-wise. That might be a possible thing to improve. I kind of just want, like, young players, though. So what if I do prospects and regulars? Not that interesting to me. Okay, Alex Cole I like a lot. He's very fast, good average, good on base percentage. Yes, Alex Cole is certainly seems like he's the initial guy here. The other possibility is Mark Portugal, but Mark Portugal is just kind of there. There's also Dave Martinez, who is quite frankly overrated as well. I'd rather Alex Cole. Like, the value of Dean Palmer is his power, and I do need some more power on this lineup, but he's also very far away from being a big contributor. And that does lead me to some concern. Joey Cora's nothing too exceptional. Luis Polonia is vastly overpaid. And I don't really need another reliever. If I could get Cole and another player, I think I'd be pretty happy about that. So let's grab Alex Cole. Can I get Atlee Hammaker too? Like, I'm hoping the fact I'm taking salary off of his plate, I will give you Jeff Juden. However, I would like you to eat some of his salary if I do. If you eat half his salary, I will make this happen. So we're gonna sim a couple of days here and see what happens. Wait, you want Phil Bradley? You can have Phil Bradley if you eat his entire contract. Okay. I'm going to remove Phil Bradley then. And I'm going to see if I can get you to take, like, Chris Hammond. You can have him. I know why you don't like this deal, but it's because the AI has this weirdly inflated opinion of Jeff Juden. I'd rather have an established starting pitcher and let Marquise Grissom take over center field. Because what this does is this then lets me demote Willie Blair and let Cal Eldred be our utility starting dude. And plus, Alex Cole is a perfectly good outfielder. And somebody that could easily fill in for Grissom and play all the outfield positions for right now. He's probably also Phil Bradley insurance, because I do have Phil Bradley next season too, but we might want to upgrade from him at some stage. Pitching wise, Atlee Hammaker instantly becomes our number 5 starter. And Cal Eldred immediately slots in as our emergency guy. Did I draft Atlee Hammaker when I was with the Pirates? I don't think I did. And the best part of this is I'm only paying half the contract. So if it doesn't work out, I can still trade it and we'd probably be better. Alright, let's go up to the trading deadline. You're entitled to your opinion, but... Really? Look, I don't want Dan Petrie. But Eric Karros and Mark Lewis combined are more than worth Randy Reddy. Do you have any interesting prospects by chance? Just the one? Okay. Yeah, done. Wait, what? So wait a minute. If I take your crappy reliever, you're okay with it, but if I don't, you reject it? Alright. I'll just turn right around and trade Dan Petrie, because I don't actually want him. Eric Karros. Actually, Mark Lewis is the one who's going to get called up. I need a good utility guy. Oh, you're not that, though. I guess Eric Karros can be our dude. He can fill some sort of role. And then Dan Petrie. I'm just going to turn around and trade you, because I didn't want you in the first place. Let's get Moro Gozo. I think he's pretty interesting. And, okay. I'm well aware, by the way, we're now kind of thin in the middle infield, but I'm alright with that. I'm going to just let you guys do what you want for the rest of the season. I'm not going to argue with you about who does which roles. Because I don't think it's going to matter. Yeah, I'd like to bring you back too, my dude. But the problem is you want $3 million a year, and I don't have that much money to offer a catcher. 2.4 million is a bit more realistic, and you have been pretty productive for us. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Out of the kindness of my heart, 3 years, but I want that team option in year 2. But I will bring you back on a raise because I'm unlikely to find a better catcher than you in the offseason. If we do keep Don Slot, is there anybody else here that I'd want to trade before the deadline? Let's trade Kurt Kepcher, actually. Because remember, a lot of people are kicking down my door, and I'm not going to bring him back anyway. Oh. A good young shortstop is always of tremendous value. Although he is also an objectively terrible hitter. Real Cormier. Meh. Tim Scott is a really good overall pitcher. He's got a lot of different pitches, and he's just really good across the board. Let's go ahead and grab Tim Scott. And we will complete the trade. Because we're not making the playoffs this year, right? So it doesn't make any sense to keep a pitcher that might not actually be that important to us. John Franco, no one's going to give me anything for him. Otherwise, I'd think about it. The most important thing we need to accomplish this season is we need to get ourselves in a position A, see how good we can be, and B, find a way to build up the rest of the roster. With the eye to making a push in a season or two. We keep Don Slot. The fans love that. He's a perfectly cromulent player. I'm pretty happy about that. Phil, you're not a middle of the lineup hitter, though, is the issue. You're just a guy. I'm not upset with what you've given me, but you're not a middle of the order guy. You just don't have the bat for that. I'd love to get another top 5 pick if I can manage it. I think we're a tiny bit too good for that, but I would like that if we could manage it. I'd like to get a top 5 draft picks. We can maybe add another player or two of note. So Trigger's going to randomly heat up at the end of the season, aren't we, just to fuck me out of a good draft slot? I see how you are, game. I mean, we finished at 500. Oh, that's fun. All right, my friends, let us conclude the off-season. Or let's conclude the playoffs, and then we can discuss what to do next and how the season actually went. An all-Canadian World Series is pretty cool, all things considered. Oh, my hitting coach retired. That's annoying. But I don't think it's that big a deal because I'm quite certain that that he wasn't that great anyway. Alright, let us first address the coaching situation. We do need a brand new hitting coach and a brand new third base coach. Let's go ahead and promote Ernie Broglio. I think that's a very smart idea. To third base coach Areno. And I'm going to shoot Dallas Green all the way up to AAA manager, because that's where I actually wanted him to begin with. You'd actually be a pretty good hitting coach, but I think I want to keep you as a manager because I think you might be replacing a first or third base coach in the near future. So let's begin by getting someone really good with mechanics. Ed Haliki. Come on down. But let's really get the very best possible hitting coach. That sounds like Sam Bowens to me. Okay. Ooh, the expansion draft. Oh, this is for the, what, the Rockies and the Rays? Oh, the Rockies and the Marlins. Okay. Cool. All right. So let's talk about our salary arbitration fellows. Tom Glavine, yes, please. Let's get you a nice little raise. Eric Hansen gets a bigger raise, which he definitely deserves. He's been an excellent player for us. Chris Nabholz. I'm good with that. Rob Dibble did end up being a really good club pitcher, even if he could have been a little bit better. So for that reason, I will happily offer him a new deal. Rod Booker was kind of worthless, so let's go ahead and non-tender him. I extremely am interested in promoting and getting a new contract for both Grissom and Oopsie Doodle. Here we go. Cool. I keep meaning to hit the minus 10,000, but I keep hitting the minus 100,000 button. So there we go. I'm not going to bring back John Franco. He was below replacement level and probably wants a shit ton of money. So, no thank you. Let's talk about what went well and what didn't go well. Paul Molitor didn't play a full season, but was still fantastic. This is what we re-signed him for. This gives us a very, very good middle-of-the-order presence, and I'm very happy about that. John Valentin, this is what you want from a rookie. He led the league in doubles, which I definitely didn't predict, and he was also a quite good second baseman. If John Valentin isn't somehow Rookie of the Year, they'd better be pretty fantastic, because 5 wins off a rookie is pretty rare. Jerry Brown more than held up his end of the bargain, getting on base at a very high clip, and stealing bases badly. Alex Cole, I know he didn't play for us a ton, but he was very, very good, and he's probably earned a larger role on the team in the near future. Don Slott was great. Jose Canseco is probably going to get traded. Because let me be perfectly blunt with you. Jose Canseco has one and only one redeeming asset, his power. If he is not hitting 40 homers a year, he is a millstone on this lineup, making us worse. I see no value to keeping Jose Canseco right now. I see none. He's too deeply, deeply flawed as a player. So I think he's gonna go. Manny Lee definitely needs to be replaced too. That's whatever. If I trade Jose Canseco right now, what can I get for him? If I eat none of his salary, that's the big part. I could get Chili Davis. I could get Jim Eisenreich. I'm getting a lot of offers here, which is very, very good. I'm very happy about that. I mean, Ryan Sandberg at second base would look awfully sexy on this roster. Because he's a really, really good hitter from top to bottom. But he's not the greatest second baseman, so maybe not that. I do need a new shortstop. Maybe Robin Yount is the answer there. I don't know. I mean, if Robin Yount is the answer, it kind of asks, what is the question? Could get me some Tim Raines in my life, the ultimate leadoff guy. The thing is, Robin Yount isn't what he used to be, and so I don't think he's a reliable replacement at shortstop. And Ryan Sandberg would be a terrible shortstop. Or Ryan Sandberg, excuse me. I kind of love the idea of getting Jim Eisenreich, in all honesty. He's a very talented player who could handle right field or left field. Could I get Gary Sheffield just for the lulz? What if I just asked for Gary Sheffield? No. Okay. That's fair. What about Brian Hunter? Okay. I think unless I take some salary off their hands, they're not going to do it. Okay. Yeah, I get why they're being cagey about this. It does make sense to me. What if I got you to eat some of his salary? Nah, I'm not going to fuck with it. I'm just going to go ahead and pull the trigger. And look, I know that seems short-sighted, but at the end of the day, a guy like Canseco is just never going to be a frontline player. He just isn't. So what this does is leaves me with basically 4 nearly identical players, Eisenreich being the best of the bunch. We'll probably trade Phil Bradley in the near future here and see if we can't grab ourselves a better power bat. I mean, I have 5 players for 4 positions there, and that's obviously not ideal. But I'm curious to see where we can go from here. I definitely want to get a power bat. I definitely want someone who can hit home runs, but I don't want a player who gets paid $4 million to only hit home runs. I just think that's a bad use of limited resources. I truly do. Whereas a guy like Jim Eisenreich, he hits for contact, he hits for power, he gets on base. These are all very valuable skills, no matter where he plays, and that's going to serve us fairly well. How is our team chemistry? It is reasonably good. We don't have any team leaders. We don't have any people that drag us down either. So that's pretty cool. So, my friends, we're definitely going to be considering in the off-season ways to upgrade our lineup. But for now, I think it's going to end today's episode. I hope you have enjoyed the episode. If you have, please remember to like and subscribe and comment down below. And until next time, this has been Guardian. Thank you for watching. And I bid you... We had a very good rotation. We bid you good day.